expect to win titles, and that's not going to change today.
Bullseye.
It is James Wade's 36th birthday.
Outside,
and he's
Michael's
chose
on the
to celebrate it by enjoying an afternoon's darts here in Barnsley.
Michael to
Will the
throw first.
machine be getting a cheque for £10,000 put in his card by the PDC? Or will the bully boy Michael Smith spoil the party? I'm Chris Murphy and Dan Dawson is with me to find out.
125.
There's been some special stuff today, despite the absence of some of the top players in the world. And ridiculously, or maybe it's not ridiculous, but 4 of the world's top 10
100.
declined the chance to come here. And within an hour or two, 4 more of the world's top 10 had been knocked out of the tournament. The 2 that remain
140.
have gone on to make the final here.
Yes, James Wade, the world number 9. Smith, the number 6 in the world.
180.
And the machine rattles in. His first 180 of the match, his 11th of the afternoon. And Michael Smith
40.
is an opponent that James Wade, I would suggest, enjoys playing, Dan.
Well, I think so. Certainly, their head-to-head record suggests it.
180.
And the fact he's hit 2 180s in the first leg would back up that point. Not that his demeanour suggests it. But this could be an 11 darter
85.
to get the party started.
Tops it is. Happy
Game
birthday, Wadey. 12 darter to kick off this final.
Yeah, James Wade has got a very, very impressive record against Michael Smith, who has only beaten the machine 3 times in 16 meetings. And of course, one of those meetings was that World Series
41.
of Darts finals final last year when James Wade survived match darts and then denied Michael Smith his first big TV title.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well,
140.
2 of those wins for Michael Smith out of the 3 he's won were from the first 3 games, so back in 2012 and 2014. So effectively, he has won 1
59.
out of 13 in the last 5 years.
Yeah, very interesting as well, because around that time was when James Wade was supposed to be
100.
at his best, and the rest of the time when he was losing to him was when James Wade suffered his little bit of a slump. And many are suggesting that James Wade is back to his best now. Picked up back-to-back TV titles last year, has reached a final of the Masters this year. This is his first final since then. But he's been producing perhaps bigger numbers than
55.
many can ever remember.
Well, yeah, and certainly, I mean, he's hitting 180s for fun in the Premier League. In fact, these 2 are hitting 180s for fun full stop
140.
on that European tour of elite darts. But James Wade, as good as his record against Michael Smith is, his record in finals is not
60.
great. Certainly not over the last 3 years or so. And I know he did win the one in the World Series finals against Michael Smith, but survived darts in that final.
94.
Yes, he beat Whitlock in the European Championship final, having survived darts in the semi. But prior to that, he'd lost 7 finals on the spin. He lost in the
96.
final of the Masters earlier this year as well.
Wants the ball to deny
Game
the bully
shot.
boy. What a start from James Wade. An 11 darter in the first leg and then a 1-2-4 out in the second on the ball. And Michael Smith has no choice but to get going here.
180.
Well, Michael Smith has just fired in his first 180 of the final. He is hit 21 today. But he has
100.
come through some real adversity to get here. That's 4 and 5.
140.
He went 7 darts into the 9 in a stunning semi-final against Steve West. West averaged 105, and it still wasn't enough against Michael Smith. In fact, I've just had a bit of a dig through. One of the things on the Dart
60.
Connect system, it'll tell you the opponent's 3-dart average that a player faces over the course of a day. Now, we've seen 8 of these events so far,
139.
and Michael Smith, the opponent 3-dart average that he's faced today is higher than any of the other guys who've won a title this year. It's 97.3,
28.
which is an astonishing set of numbers. Almost as astonishing as that 28 from Wadey.
Well, that was rather astonishing as well
22.
from Michael Smith, but James Wade is perhaps one of the players who is best known for conserving energy in legs he thinks he cannot win.
140.
And the Bully Boy, just like the machine, a double 10 man.
No score.
He hasn't found it with 3 darts there, and had James Wade not had that shock visit of 28, he would have been in with a shout here.
133.
And he's still in with a shout. But how big a shout is it?
Game shot.
Quite a small one, turns out.
A whisper from Wade, but he's in control. Yeah, Michael Smith in his first
140.
first final of the season, shall we say. Of course, he played in something on the 1st of January. That was
30.
his biggest career payday. Michael Smith, of course, losing out to MVG 7-3 in a final that could have been a little bit different.
100.
Yeah, it could have done. I think the real thing that will hurt Michael Smith is that he didn't make it closer.
95.
There was the Premier League final, for example, last year. Van Gogh was threatening to break all kinds of records, and Michael Smith could walk away from that going, look, you know, Van Gogh has had a great night there. There's not a great deal I can do. But the World Final, he felt the opportunity was there to really push MVG, and he didn't seize it as much as he could have done.
96.
The machine won't be messing about going for the bullseye at the end of this combination, I'm sure.
You sure? How sure?
Pretty sure.
Sure?
Yes,
130.
positive. Positive, Dan. Wade is wiser than you.
43.
Double 10. And again,
Game
James
shot.
Wade finds double 10. Smith himself, Dan, has won just one of his last 6 finals. That was the last tournament he won, the Shanghai
60.
Masters, back in July last year. But he was beaten in the ones we mentioned against Wade at the World Series, Van Gerwen at the World Championship. The one that I think stands out actually was a Pro
180.
Tour final that he would be hurt him the most at the time, and it was there for everyone to see when he left the stage, when he lost out to Max Hopp at the German Darts
123.
Open last year.
Yeah, that really did hurt him. And he was in danger, Michael Smith, of in a couple of
96.
Euro Tour events' time, not being in the seedings if he didn't pick up money. Well, this run here today has massively helped that. So I think that
58.
means that Michael Smith can go to the next couple of European Tour events, including that German Darts Open in Saarbrücken, and the pressure will be off him a little bit. But he has been, frustratingly, Michael Smith this year, finding ways to play very well and lose. You can see his losing averages. He's lost with 100 plus a number of times, including 112. The Premier League, there have been points that he's lost. He should have got draws and lost. He should have got wins and he's drawn.
Yeah, well, he drew with Peter Wright despite
100.
averaging 10 points more on Thursday in Belfast. Met James Wade the week before in Rotterdam and was beaten 7-4. James Wade was in fine fettle in
100.
that one. It's actually the machine who's averaging 10 points higher than his opponent in this one.
And he is going to get a go at that 72.
95.
Another in that segment. Gives him a dart, a double top. And it's
Game shot.
usually all he needs.
James Wade is threatening to run away with this one. 99 average, in line with what he's been doing all day. You look at it this year, and they're both in the top 10 in the list of averages on the Players' Championship
45.
Series. Michael Smith in 5th, Wade in 10th. We are in a weekend which will see the 9th and 10th events. So perhaps no surprise to see one of these two pick up a
180.
title. It
83.
is first to 8 though in the final, remember, so there is still time for things to change.
Well, he threatened this earlier on, got 5 perfect darts then. This
180.
time he's got 6. James Wade produced perfection on the European Tour just last weekend. Can Michael Smith do it against
60.
him in the final?
Went 7 darts into the 9 in his semi-final against Steve West. Just the 6 on this occasion.
105.
Finds himself down to 36 with Wade a mere 280 points behind.
43.
And it would be to break the throw. Well, what was
No
he thinking
score.
about? Was it just the grip of the dart there, or was he thinking about leaving something that he preferred?
I genuinely think he was considering a different route.
16 for
100.
double 10?
Well, that's exactly what I'd think he'd go for, if that were the case.
Well, he might wish he had, because now he wants double 9, and he's allowed James Wade a
18.
chance to land a whopper.
Well, that time he'd have gone for it. I'm
Are you
sure
sure?
of that.
What
100.
does Smith do now? Straight for double 9?
I think he will. Oh my word!
Game shot.
Well, make no mistake about it. There is a particular thing with Michael Smith and double 18 and double 9, because a couple of years ago at the World Championship he missed those 2 to beat Rob Cross at the Worlds, and then the following year, and his run to the final,
140.
I think it was against Nathan Aspinall, but it was one of his games where he relied upon that so heavily, and he had been thinking about it, he admitted it, but he pinned double 9 4 times out of 4 to kind of exercise those
100.
demons. He is a stubborn man, Michael Smith. He won't run away from any part of the dartboard if it's hurt him in the past. He'll just keep battering it until it turns.
43.
In fact, both of these players have had that dilemma with a particular finish, haven't they? 61. Whether to go for the bullseye, 25 to leave double 18,
140.
or whether to go for treble 7 to leave their preferred navigation around double top and double 10.
41.
Michael Smith has managed to score just 84 points with his last 6 darts,
57.
and having fought his way back into the match, he might be surrendering this leg to the machine. Needs something big here.
How big do you want? Bigger than that, probably. Oh,
61.
my word. Well, an extra 60 points could have made a big difference. Would have left him on a finish.
James Wade will be on a finish, moving downstairs.
94.
He would have hoped for something better as well, but it's very makeable for the machine.
Oh, it's got Wadey written all over it, 110,
60.
hasn't it? Michael Smith does get down to that 156. Unfortunately, he's taken 3 darts more than he thought he needed.
50.
Well, he'd like a dart at double 18 at the end of this combination, I can assure you of that. But he's not going to get one.
25.
Oh, that's that kind of lazy Michael Smith last dart, almost walking to the board with it.
Game shot.
James Wade punishes, having worked so hard to get that breaker throw back. Michael Smith sees it ripped out of his hands once again.
The last few moments of this match, we've witnessed James Wade of old and Michael Smith of old, who's now having a word with himself to
133.
bring himself back to the present moment in the background, because he knows that he did get a little bit stroppy there. And he's got a little bit sloppy there.
83.
Didn't see much of this in his semi-final against Steve West.
140.
Hanging on in there,
96.
stayed there. Bold move from Michael Smith there. Could easily have knocked 57 points on the floor.
If he can turn it around, of course. Smith, who beat Ian White en route
58.
to this final, his old pal and practice partner, would jump ahead of White once again in that race for PDC titles. They currently have 10 each, although White claims that
58.
one of Smith doesn't count.
Yeah.
100. 56.
Well, it's just a bit of a struggle for Michael Smith at the minute. It's not as effortless as it's looked for most of today. And James Wade is going about his business. A 70 checkout, taken out in 2 darts, gives him a 6-2 lead. Anything but the semis and final. Wade's got this one. But things are a bit different
60.
on the Pro Tour nowadays.
Fortunately for James Wade, Michael Smith is not showing many signs of launching a
132.
comeback. In fact, this is by some distance his poorest performance of the afternoon.
Yeah, pretty much 10 points off his worst average
100.
of the day. That was against Ian White in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, what, 25 points off his best?
Well, I mean, he's had 4 matches today where he's averaged over a ton, and a couple of them comfortably over a
100.
ton. But it's just not been there.
Well, this pair of flip-flops in the leaderboard this afternoon. Those of you who look at the Dart
100.
Connect system, before the semi-finals, James Wade was the only player with an average for the tournament of over a ton. And before the final, Michael Smith was the only player with a ton plus average for the tournament.
139.
As things stand, doesn't look like anybody's going to be averaging a ton for the day. Not anybody who's made it past 3 or 4 rounds, at any rate.
140.
Wade has a chance here to move within 1 when he's going to get a dart at double 5. Oh,
Game
that
shot.
is superb. Vintage, clinical James Wade, who now is 1 leg away from a superb birthday present.
Prime, archetypal, wading. 1 dart at double at the end of a combination, under pressure, and it goes. That's why James Wade classifies himself as the best finisher in the game.
96.
And it looks like he's going to finish that horror run of final defeats.
125.
Look, he obviously won the 2 big TV tournaments at the back end of last year and ended a 2-year spell, longer than 2 years, of not winning
25.
a title of any kind. But even if we go back to the summer of 16, when he won a Euro Tour, that itself ended a year-long wait for a title, pretty
60.
much. You've got to go back to July 2015 for the last time he won one of these floor events, James Wade. It has been a long, long while.
You do often get the feeling that he is one of those sort of players who sees these floor tournaments as a kind of necessary evil at times, James Wade. The last time we saw him in
140.
a decider on the floor was against Mervyn King last summer, when the King actually produced a very, very impressive performance to defeat the Machine. But the Machine
120.
has produced a very impressive performance of his own this afternoon. And now he's got 2 darts at double top
Game
to
shot
defeat
on
the
match.
bully boy. And James Wade on his 36th birthday, trousers £10,000. What a prize. What a win for James Wade. His first since those back-to-back TV titles, and he is a very, very happy man. He can celebrate tonight. He's got candles to blow out later. But in the final, he has blown Michael Smith away. James Wade wins Players' Championship 9. And we are going to catch a few words with the winner, with the birthday boy, James the Machine Wade. We'll talk to Dan in a moment.